Despite gun battles in the capital of Chad, rioting in Kenya, and galloping inflation in Zimbabwe, the economies of sub-Saharan Africa are, as a whole, in better shape than they were a few years ago. The World Bank has reported recently that this part of the continent experienced a respectable growth rate of 5.6% in 2006 and a higher rate from 1995 to 2005 than in previous decades. Perhaps the most incisive analysis of the volatility question comes from Paul Collier, a long-time specialist in African economics at the University of Oxford and author of the recent book The Bottom Billion. The human craving for flavor has been a large unacknowledged and unexamined force in history. Royal empires have been built, unexplored lands have been traversed, great religions and philosophies have been forever changed by the spice trade. In 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail in order to try to find new seasonings and thus to make his fortune with this most desired commodity of that time. Telecommuting, internet shopping and online meetings may save energy as compared with in-person alternatives, but as the digital age moves on, its green reputation is turning a lot browner. Emailing, number crunching and web searches in the US consumed as much as 61 billion kilowatt-hours last year, or 1.5% of the nation's electricity, half of which comes from coal. Peter Drucker was one of the most important management thinkers of the past 100 years. He wrote about 40 books and thousands of articles, and he never rested in his mission to persuade the world that management matters. Management is an organ of institutions, the organ that converts a mob into an organization, and human efforts into performance. Onion growers in eastern Oregon are adopting a system that saves water and keeps topsoil in place while producing the highest quality supercolossal onions. Pear growers in southern Oregon have reduced their use of some of the most toxic pesticides by up to 2/3, and are still producing top quality pear. Day after day, we hear about how anthropogenic development is causing global warming. According to an increasingly vocal minority, however, we should be asking ourselves how much of this is media hype, and how much is based on real evidence. The Aral Sea gets almost all its water from the Amu and Syr rivers. Over millennium the Amu's course has drifted away from the sea, causing it to shrink. But the lake always rebounded as the Amu shifted back again. Today heavy irrigation for crops such as cotton and rice siphons off much of the two rivers, severely cutting flow into their deltas and thus into the sea. On Mars, signs of wetness keep pouring in, deeply carved river valleys, vast deltas and widespread remnants of evaporating seas have convinced many experts that liquid water may have covered large parts of the red planet for 1 billion years or more. One official mentioned that passing this tree-lined curve in the river, a popular tourism spot for Hungarians, was monotonous. Also, it was to be submerged by a giant hydroelectric dam in secret by a much-feared state agency known simply as the Water Management.